Hey, everybody. Yes, welcome back to the Paid Search Podcast. My name is Jason Rothman. As always, I'm joined by the great Chris Schaefer. Chris, how's it going today?
I am focused and ready, Jason, to be the best Google Ads podcast partner you've ever had and that you'll ever have. There's no reason to stop doing the star search to replace me, Jason. I'm going to do a great job today. I promise. I'm going to be your wingman, and it's going to be great.
Great.
You're going to love me.
It's good to hear. But you're doing good? Everything's going good?
Oh, yeah, with me. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm fabulous.
Good.
How about you?
Yeah, I'm
the
doing
weather.
great too.
Yeah, the weather, Jason. I don't know about you.
Weather.
It's like 70 degrees, 60 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Springtime.
springtime.
Just been amazing lately. Yeah. So we got a reprieve from an early summer. So that's been that. I'm just a very basic guy. Weather's good. I'm in a happy mood. I mean, that's all it takes.
Older you get, the more important weather is
that's
for your life. Yeah,
that's true.
getting there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Chris, got a lot going on today. Episode 312, how to get better leads from Google Ads using what you can control to your advantage. Too long a title, or you like it? Pretty descriptive.
I think you know how I feel about the title. It's a little long, but we've done some extensive testing with research groups and focus groups, and that's what they liked. So that's how much time we put into these episodes, guys.
Yeah, and so that's what we're going to be talking about. A couple weeks ago, we talked about how to get more leads. Today, we're going to be talking about how to get better leads. Before we do that, I just want to let everybody know that this show is back on YouTube, and we got a lot of clips on there. We won't spam your subscription feed, but if you want to check them out, they're on the channel. Episodes come out on Mondays as well, so you can see what Chris is wearing today. He's wearing a green button-up. Chris, are those actual buttons?
Yeah, Pearl Snap.
Yeah, Pearl Snap. Yeah, I thought so.
Pearl Snap.
Hold on. Sorry, I was talking. My bad.
Okay, yeah. Here we
Get
go.
close
Ready?
to the mic. Yeah, we love the audio.
Right.
Wow.
There wasn't much there. I mean, they're not that. But I have a feature for you YouTubers out there watching. Well, let me turn right way on the screen. I can't. It's backwards. I can't do it. It says Schaefer. Where is it? Oh, it's right here. It says Schaefer on my shirt.
Yeah, like it.
This is a Schaefer Outfitter.
How long ago did you get it?
Like 2 weeks ago.
Wow. I thought it looked kind of new for you.
It is, yeah. Schaefer Outfitter. That's a brand. I think they should sponsor the show. I love this shirt. It feels great, light, and I'll look good in it.
Long sleeve?
No, short sleeve. Short sleeve. Yeah.
Sleeve button up.
Don't. It looks good. Okay. My wife likes it. She's the only one that matters. So don't laugh.
Yeah. So we got our PPC jobs page. A lot of people are visiting that on the website. We're now posting jobs to jobs in the industry. People can post jobs and people can find jobs on there. We've got the PPC Daily, comes out Monday through Friday podcast feed that takes clips from this podcast and then send us your questions on the website for the Q&A episodes. And then we have our first 100 episodes available, what we call the archive. You can find it on paidsearchpodcast.com. So, Chris, get ready. We're going to be talking about how to get better leads from Google Ads using what you can control to your advantage, just not the quantity, but the quality that actually turns into business. We'll be breaking down what you can control, what you can't control, stuff we've never talked about before, stuff that other people are not bright enough to cover and talk about. And so we're going to open a lot of minds here and help a lot of people. But before we do that, let's get into a message from Optio, and then we will get into the episode.
I want to remind you guys that you're only getting half the picture when you just use Google Ads default UI. Okay, if you're using the interface at Google Ads, you're only getting half the picture, because if you want to truly monitor and diagnose performance issues in your Google Ads campaigns, the tool that provides all the graphs, all the learnings, all the metrics and statistics that I'm not smart enough to understand, and many of you are not as well. You're going to want this kind of tool in your tool belt. This is a highly affordable tool. And the great thing is you can try it for 8 weeks for free, 2 months to try this amazing tool for free and try all the performance metrics that you can fit on your plate. I mean, everything from location details around monitoring performance to segments, deep segments information, budget management, making sure that you're hitting your budget goals, down to keyword and Ngram and all kinds of stuff that you may not have even heard of that's buried deep in Google Ads. And it takes that and lays it out in a step-by-step. Hey, pay attention to this. Pay attention to this. It pulls your attention into this. You discover this performance issue. You make the decision and move on. Amazing tool. That's optio.com/PSP. That's the only place you can get the 2-month free trial. Optio.com/PSP.
Okay, great, Chris. So now we're going to get into the difference between the quantity of leads you get and the quality of leads you get. So, Chris, obviously you and I manage Google Ads campaigns for clients. This idea of quality versus quantity of leads, for me at least, has come from that experience of managing campaigns for clients and hearing from clients, whether it's like a longtime client or a new client. You start getting some leads, you get a quantity of leads, you start showing conversions, but they're not happy with those conversions. They want better conversions. Or sometimes it's a new client that comes to you and says, hey, I have a problem with my current management. I'm trying to get more business. I'm trying to get good leads. And every time I convey that to the manager, they tell me, well, look at your conversions. We're getting you conversions. And there's a disconnect between the number of conversions or leads you get and then how many of those leads actually become paying customers for a business. So have you heard that complaint from new people that come to you about previous management? And then also, have you had those discussions with clients on like, hey, maybe we need to stop focusing on quantity of leads and start focusing on better leads? Is this a valid topic in your experience?
Absolutely. It is. It is. I always love examples. So I'm going to say an example. Just yesterday, I did an audit on an account. It was an account that worked in the travel industry, okay, here in the U.S. And I opened up the account and I immediately was intimidated. I'm like, oh, wow, these guys are doing amazing. They had in 90 days, they had 1,000 conversions. And
Yeah.
there's quantity. Boom. I mean, but why are they reaching out to me? Obviously they're doing great. They had a 25% conversion rate, just phenomenal, really low CPC. And, I'm like, well, Chris, they're calling you because they're having some issues. So I dig a little further and wouldn't you know, it is absolutely quantity. There is actually no quality that's happening.
Wow.
It was just button clicks. It was button clicks on their schedule, a meeting. That's all it was. So people were clicking the button, but they weren't actually booking. They were just going to the booking page. So what they were essentially tracking as a conversion is the volume of people going to a booking page, but not the actual bookings. That's a worthless high volume metric. And even though Google Ads said they were getting, $5 cost per conversion, in reality, they were getting no quality at all. They were getting nothing out of it.
I'm going to call that second level thinking, which is deeper than first level. First level is we need to get conversions. Mm-hmm. And if you get your conversions, you think you're happy and you think you made it. So that's first level thinking. Second level is, well, what actually defines these conversions? How much quality is there to these conversions? Like, are they actually real leads or not? And in this example, there's not a sign that they're actual leads because it's just people click on a schedule button, but it doesn't track if they've actually scheduled a booking or a consultation. But there's also third level thinking, which makes things even more difficult, which is say in this example, people are booking consultations and that is being tracked. What we're kind of getting to today is, well, even when someone does schedule, what is the likelihood they're going to go from a consultation to actually being a paying customer, and looking at leads instead of just quantity, the actual quality and how many of those people actually become paying customers? That's like the third level. And we haven't discussed it a lot on this show, but it is a serious problem that comes up where people are getting real leads, but they're not happy with the quality of them. And so what we'll be talking about today is using the things you can control to get better quality. And Chris, I just want to throw this out there. Sometimes better quality means a lower quantity, and it means a higher cost per conversion, a higher cost per lead. And a lot of people in this space can't live with that, whether it's the manager or the advertiser, because we're so trained to focusing on getting the most leads, getting that conversion count up high, and then getting the cost per conversion as low as possible. It really takes a radical mindset shift to accept that the cost per lead might be higher if you're getting better leads. Can you kind of speak to that and talk about that struggle that some people
I
might
mean,
have with that concept?
I just had a conversation with a client last week, and they told me, Chris, our closing rates are going down. So I made some decisions, and we discussed. And of course, as Jason, you would know what would happen if their closing rate is going down. What I'm going to focus on is quality of leads. And
Yeah.
just like you said, cost per conversion would go up. That's exactly what happened. And I,
Wow.
within a couple days, got some panic messages of, we had our least conversions ever in 3 months yesterday. What's going on? And
Mm-hmm.
this is absolutely the freak out. The giant red report arrow pointing down. If you're looking at the overview page, or you're
Yeah.
looking at some dashboard or something like that, you're going to see down arrows. And you have to understand that quality and quantity are typically inverse of each other. You can always get more, but it's not going to guarantee quality. So, yeah, you're exactly right. The panic sets in because all the reports are going to point you towards, oh, you got less clicks. Oh, you got less conversions. Oh, your CPC is up. Oh, your cost per conversion is up. And those are all going to be red arrows. They're not going to be green.
And the other thing that makes this difficult is it's very tough when people look at that Google Ads mobile app. And
Oh,
that's when you kind of get the
yeah.
messages. That's when you get the urgent messages from
Yeah.
clients. What's going on? What makes it tough is you can check the conversion count, the difference in conversion quantity anytime.
Hmm.
You can check it anytime, and it's right there and accessible for you. The What was our revenue this month? How has the last quarter been versus the previous year? That stuff takes time to develop, and it takes time for these leads to schedule and
Yeah.
then actually pay and then watch that revenue come in. And if it's a recurring business model, watch the revenue continue to come in. And compare that to what you were getting previously. That takes a longer amount of time. So definitely takes the right mindset and the right. There's a certain level of communication that's needed between whoever's managing the Google Ads account and the business owner to kind of pursue higher quality leads from Google
Yeah.
Ads and moving that to be the goal instead of quantity. So with that said, I think it is the right goal. Obviously, the quality of leads should be a better goal or a higher priority than the quantity, because quality of leads leads to more actual revenue,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what's
And
important
it
here.
and you'll work the heck out of your sales team, right? You might say I want volume, but in the end your sales team's going to start to hate you because they're wasting time. They're grinding through phone calls and emails and things when all of these people are unqualified, or you're going to pay one way or another. You might be able to get volume, but you're going to pay on the back end for what you're bringing in, and it's not going to be profitable.
Yeah, and it's not just sales teams. It's say you sign people up, but maybe you might be in a boutique, high touch service industry, maybe like we are. And if you take on the wrong clients that are not high
Oh,
quality,
lots of
it's going to
touching.
lead to a lot of stress and a lot of turnover.
That's a good point.
Um,
Yeah.
and you have to think about that as well. So, Chris, let's get into the things we can control to move our mindset from quantity of leads to quality of leads. First thing that came to my mind, Chris, is controlling your search terms. And the search terms are tied to the search user's mindset. So, doing a better job of getting in front of the best people that are going to be the highest quality of leads and customers for you, that are going to actually convert from lead to revenue at the highest rate. Where I'm starting is the search term and trying to get it on the best searches and thinking through that. So, kind of, can you expand on that?
Yeah. I mean, there are on this show, you and I both like to use really specific examples, and it's always so hard to to cover examples in the volume of all the different industries out there. I mean, there's no way that we can. So, Jason, I'll let you share some examples, but I'll start with a rule that I like to begin with when it comes to quality. In the search at the search term level. Now, this is not always true, but most of the time, if you see a high volume of conversions on a search term that is one word or two words, you probably are going to have a problem with quality of leads. Now, if you see a wide distribution of conversions happening on a lot of different terms that are subtly different, but they're all like 3-4 words long, that is probably an indication that you're dealing with higher quality. That's probably the best way I can explain it. I mean, it seems to be pretty universal. Would you agree?
Yeah, it depends if those 3, 4, 5 words are correct or incorrect to your business. But I like that mindset in terms of I definitely like that, and I'll give you an example. So, like if you're a payroll software company and you're running a big budget, you know who your kind of clients are, you know who your kind of customers are. If you're specializing in corporations that have at least 100 employees, if you're specializing maybe larger than that in enterprise, and you're getting search terms from payroll software searches like payroll software or payroll software pricing, that could be okay. If you're getting leads from that, it could be okay. Some of those leads could be from people working at enterprises and huge companies. And we'll talk about that later on when we talk about what we can't control. And sometimes you just have to show up on these kind of low word count, but general kind of search terms. But at the same time, if you're not trying to get in front of searches like enterprise payroll software or payroll software, 100 employees, 100 plus employees, if you're not trying to get those search terms and then seeing how much of your budget you can allocate to those better search terms first, you're probably not doing it right. Because you have to look at the odds. What are the odds someone doing a search for payroll software and converting and booking a free consultation has an enterprise behind them or 100 employees behind them versus someone searching payroll software, tons of employees, payroll software, 100 plus employees, payroll software for enterprise or enterprise payroll software. The leads that come from those latter searches that are more nuanced probably are going to convert into paying customers at a higher rate. A couple more examples. Say you're a moving company and either you specialize in office moves or the whole reason you've come to Google Ads to start advertising is to get more office moves. Maybe that's the kind of moves you want to book the most because they're the highest profit margin or the biggest revenue. If you're getting searches from movers near me versus search terms from office movers and leads from office movers, obviously the latter is going to be better quality for your goal. And then finally, Chris, in the e-commerce space, you can say you're a dog bed that specializes in making dog beds that dogs won't chew on or dog beds for dogs that have a chewing problem. You could target a search term dog beds and get a lot of conversions. But what about the conversions that you get for the search term dog beds for chewers? Or what if you specialize in making large dog beds and you can get conversions from large dog beds? That's the kind of differences we're looking at. If someone did agree with this theory and wanted to test it out and wanted to get leads, even if they were fewer leads, but leads from their more specific searches, because they think they're going to convert into paying customers at a higher rate, how would they go about doing that, Chris? Is it a matter of keyword targeting? Is it structure? Is it negative keywords?
Yeah.
It's kind of tough.
Yeah, I mean that's a great question, and I mean that's a question that requires an all-encompassing view. Because just to say it as precisely as I can, but very short, that really requires keywords and bidding and the ad copy, I would say.
And I'm going to say effort. It takes effort to try it out. I mean, it might be an exact match strategy. It might be a more open phrase match strategy, but with very specific negatives that could block out a lot of stuff you don't want. It takes time to try out. Do you agree with it? Do you think it's worth it for some advertisers to try to narrow in their search terms, even if it's kind of hard to do? If it's so easy to just say dog beds or payroll software, do you think it's worth it?
I'll tell you, the only people that reach out, well, not the only, but most of the time, the vast majority of people that reach out to me are people that have, you can probably guess it, automated bids with broad keywords, and I see a lot of traffic. I see a lot of quote unquote conversions, but they're having problem with value. They're having problem with closing and actual leads and phone calls that aren't producing. That is so what it's not is just exactly what you said. The opposite of hard work, laziness. Just throwing a couple keywords into a broad match campaign, crossing your fingers, setting some really low bars on what conversion quality is, and then just letting that thing run.
And it's also a matter of budget too, because at the end of the episode, we're going to talk about what you can control and what you cannot control. And sometimes these high volume keywords, they definitely can make sense, and you can definitely get not only leads but customers from them. And sometimes it's the right strategy, but it's also a matter of budget. And if you have a limited budget, which a lot of advertisers do compared to their overall market, a lot of people look at that negatively and they're worried about that. But I kind of look at a limited budget as an opportunity, because now you can take your limited budget and just get the absolute top quality, top not only conversion producing, but conversions that turn into paying customers. You can focus on that segment of your audience and just dial it in and get great results.
I just want to. There's people that are jogging right now, walking, driving their car. I want you to stop and rewind that and listen to what he's talking about. Jason's telling you something that if you don't take that seriously, you don't realize the wisdom in what he's saying here. First of all, Jason, you get paid for people spending more money, right? So it is not in your interest to tell people to have underfunded budgets.
But the secret is that I want clients to be happy for the long term, and I want them to pay me until I'm an old man like you, and wrinkly, and wearing short sleeve button up shirts that I bought just because a name that was not spelled like my name, but sounds like my last name. And I said, "Oh, it's my last name. I'm going to buy that. That's my big day."
I love this shirt. Okay, that's a great shirt. Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
I can't.
It's Diet Coke. It's Diet Coke.
Jason's drinking Diet Coke out of a wine glass.
Yeah. Sometimes I do that. I like to class it up with a wine glass, but it is just Diet Coke. Relax, everybody. But that is where the inspiration.
It's not as bad as me.
You take a little sniff of the Diet Coke.
Aromatic. What's the word they use? Aromatic?
It's a word they use. It's not a word you use.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
But yeah, Chris,
but really,
I want people to be happy for the long term, and the way they're happy is when they make money.
Yeah, I mean, we can't spend the whole episode on that. I mean, I know we need to move on, but I just want to point out that is not in our interest. If you are my client or you're Jason's client, it is not in our interest to tell you to underfund your budget, to spend less than you think you can. But we're telling you a healthier campaign starts with a lack of funding, and where you are forced to make decisions on what matters and doesn't matter. If I have $500 and I think I should have a $2,000 a month budget, I'm going to have to not use the word dog bed or payroll software. I'm going to have to make distinctions on the traffic quality that I have. And then when you have success, build from there. Don't build on trash.
And Chris, another aspect of it is that you think about a company like Amazon. Why are they able to start a logistics company or whatever they're getting into with drones or whatever and keep growing? It's because at some level they're profitable and they can stay in business and grow and grow. Same thing with Google. Google's profitable. Why may they make maybe billions and billions of dollars one day on driverless vehicles and put money into that and experimenting on that? It's because they're profitable. So my point is, if you come to the Google Ads with the profit mindset and you dial in your budget on the best quality traffic to start, the beautiful thing is once you've dialed in that traffic with a limited budget, then you can start a second campaign where you open things up, and it allows you to experiment and allows you to find the right bidding levels on keywords that produce customers for you at a lower level, but then you can find the right bidding level and grow and grow. And so taking that profit mindset definitely helps. But Chris, let's talk about another thing that you can control. Not only can you get in front of the absolute right search terms that are going to produce not just the leads, but the leads that turn into customers at the highest rate. Whether you focus on those search terms or you focus on wider stuff, whatever you're doing with your keywords, when people search, they then see your ads. So the ad copy, it's a great way to not just match what the system wants, which is keywords in the ads and making sure the system knows your ads are relevant to the search users, but you can also get messaging across and you can communicate to the people you want and the people you don't want, and that actually does work. So why don't you talk about that strategy of using ad copy to get better leads in Google Ads?
Yeah, as I've said on the show before, there's only one thing that the Google users are going to see, and that is your ad copy. So you build all the best keywords, you have the best bidding strategy in the world, but the only thing they see is your ad copy. Then they click and then they see your website. So the ad copy, what I like to think of is you have an opportunity to pre-qualify these people before you spend a penny on them clicking on your ad. You can pre-qualify them. So pre-qualification can be as scary as putting your actual price in your ads, even though you might be a luxury item. You might actually have a high-priced something, and that's
It might turn off 90% of search users.
exactly. But pre-qualifying them and controlling the message is a big deal, and there's a lot of pre-qualifier. Pricing is one. Jason, what's another one?
Yeah, so pricing's one. Locations is another one. Say you're in Dallas and you focus on Northwest Dallas, but because you want to show up to people when they're working and people with mobile and driving around, maybe you target a little bit wider, or maybe, even though you target Northwest Dallas, some of the searches are going to come in from other parts of Dallas. You can talk about the neighborhoods in Dallas that you are a realtor in or you do business in, and use that in the ad copy, serving whatever part of Dallas, serving these neighborhoods. People who see that, some people who don't do business in those neighborhoods, they'll still click on your ad because they won't see that. But some people will see that and they'll go, oh, that's not for me. Or the people who really do business in those areas will go, oh, that's exactly what I'm looking for. And you'll get a higher click-through rate from your best quality traffic. Even if you can't break that down in the data, you just get an overall click-through rate. But you can get the right people talking about your locations. And then turnaround time. If you have a turnaround time and you get a bunch of conversions, but you have a long turnaround time because you have a very unique, high-value product, and you get a bunch of leads with people who want that product in 2 weeks, and it takes you 2 months, you can put turnaround time 2 months in your ad copy. Maybe you don't get clicks as much. Maybe your click-through rate goes down a little bit. Maybe that causes your quality score to go down a little bit. Well, guess what? We're not judged in this world on quality scores, even though a lot of people think we are. We're judged on money in our bank account.
Yeah. Wait a second. Well, okay. Well, I won't touch
in the
that,
Google
but
Ads world. In the Google
you
Ads
can't take quality score to the bank, but you can sure take leads and checks to the bank.
Wow.
How about that?
Wow.
I got wisdom too. It's not just gray hair, Jason.
Yeah. And then finally, Chris, on your ad copy, don't forget that remarketing is ad copy. And remarketing should especially be looked at with this strategy because, Chris, one thing we always point out with remarketing is it ain't free, but for the most part, it's free. You get all these impressions. Those impressions don't cost any money. Every now and then you get a click. Then you can break that cost per click down by the average impression cost. But at the end of the day, you can rack up a ton of impressions without a lot of cost for clicks. And you can use those ad impressions to get the message in front of people that you want to get in front of, and kind of bring back people to your website that would be the perfect people. And so remarketing is definitely a place you should do that. But Chris, let's talk about landing pages. And when we use the word landing page, we mean both landing pages and websites, whatever the page the person is landing on. But how can advertisers use landing page pictures, copy, whatever, to influence the lead quality once someone has already clicked?
Yeah. So I mean, you've already paid at this point, so I'm a little concerned about, pre-qualification once you've already paid for them to come to your site. So at this point, you pretty much want everyone to convert as much as possible. But, and you may not agree with me on this, maybe you have a different point of view on this, but my thought is offering different points of conversion based on the qualification of the person. So person A, all the way to A, B, and C, right? A is the least qualified and C is the most. Person A, you might want to have them fill out a form on your site that's just going to ask you a question. Hey, do you do this? Person B, you might want to have them schedule a call with you to have a little bit more of a discussion, right? So you have that messaging on there. And then person C, you might have a
marry into your family.
Right. You could have a form on your site or, a buy now kind of thing where the person just skips the whole conversation and then boom, they're ready to buy, they're ready to purchase, they're ready to move forward.
Put a down payment or whatever.
Yeah.
Book an order.
So, So this is, to me, what you can control. You can control, you don't take all of these people and shove them into a contact me now form. That feels like, get a quote now. Maybe not everyone is ready to just call you and get a quote. Maybe some people just want to ask a question. And that, to me, that's the best way to funnel these people into different methodologies of the conversion on the page.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And I think you're right. You've already paid at this point. So at this point, it's just making the most of what you've paid for and then making your life as easy as possible. And doing different types of leads and forms and funnels, and even where phone numbers are listed, that can be a way to do things. So I know some business owners I work with, they have like a general business phone number. And when someone comes to the website, that's the number they see, top of the page, and that's the official number. But on blog articles that are very that show a person on that page will be a high value customer, or maybe lower on the page where someone's more motivated to keep reading, sometimes they list a different, more direct phone number so they can get those perfect leads coming right to them and close them better, but not get bothered with all the okay and not so great leads that come in that can just go through their regular business channels. And you can do the same thing with the form. A form, top of the page, that gets everybody great leads, maybe not so great leads that came to your site, and then one at the bottom of the page where someone's been motivated enough to read down, or maybe a second, more detailed form after they fill out the first form.
There you go.
And then you can send that to a different email, a different place. So you can use the landing page. It's not so much to influence your lead quality in the sense of like getting better leads, but it's more in terms of managing your lead flow and managing the quality of your leads. So that's something you can do. Now, Chris, this one might be a little controversial, but there's different types of conversion types that you can get. Lead forms versus phone calls, primarily, versus scheduling a call, versus putting an order in, putting a down payment, whatever. But you can promote different types of leads to your Google Ads traffic. So in this case, let's say all your Google Ads traffic is the same quality, or you're getting good and bad. You can use the conversion types on your page to drill down on what kinds of leads you get. Maybe you think calls are better than forms, or vice versa. Can you kind of speak to that?
I don't know where you're going.
Oh, sorry. Well, what I was saying is, like, some people,
you.
I've gotten feedback from clients that sometimes say, hey, if I get a lead form, that person is actually more serious than an impulsive person that just called me. So if you have to target, which and it's fine. A lot of cases we do. If you target a general keyword like movers near me or payroll software, using your website to kind of get more of the better quality leads, if that's a type of lead that you get versus other type of leads. So
okay,
am I coming in clear?
Yeah. So for example, here's a good and bad version of that. Bad version is you just point people, like the only conversion you have on your page is a phone number. And let's say the traffic that you're getting has high conversion volumes, but when you go in and look at your search terms, it's a lot of competitors, right? Competitor names. This is an example of where something's converting really great on paper, but in reality, it's people just clicking that phone number and realizing, oh, this isn't the company I want, right?
Yeah.
A good example of that would be That same situation would be someone who does a service where it's an emergency kind of thing.
Yeah.
My water is broken on my fridge, or some gas is spraying out of something or another. Some kind of thing in the home service where it needs to be just a phone number. There should not be a form, right? Because if it's a form, it's not really an emergency, and that's not the value of the kind of traffic you're wanting to bring. So, hopefully that solidifies
So
the
you
example.
can think about that, and you can use the design of your pages to kind of influence the kind of leads you get. And one example I've talked with a client is they've told me, hey, actually, when someone fills in the lead form, believe it or not, they're more serious than impulsive people who just
Yeah.
call and want an answer to their problem
Yep.
for free. And so we promoted contact submissions, both in the ad copy and on the website, and the placement of the form and the minimalization of the phone number. But at the same time, you want to be careful with that, because maybe you don't want to give up on different types of leads that you can get, because then you might be influencing customer experience, and possibly that could have a landing page quality score issue. But at the end of the day, like we said earlier, you're not judged on quality score, you're judged on money in the bank when it comes to business. And maybe you can take a ding on quality score if it means the leads you're dealing with are going
Definitely.
to convert into paying customers better. So you have to
Definitely.
think about that as well. So Chris, there's one more very, very important thing we can control, which is demographics and the person behind the search. And then we're going to talk about things we can't control, but very much don't like the way you did not respond to my question earlier about the types of conversions. And so usually we dance during the break,
Okay.
but
Here
we're
we
still
go.
going to play the music, but
Okay.
I'm going to spank you and punish you for disrespecting me in the audience earlier in the segment. And all I need is an apology. So if you want to do that now and not get hurt, you can do
I'm
it
going to
now.
apologize off air. I'm going to do it off air.
I need it on air, or you're going to get spanked.
All right, let's go to the spanking.
All right, cue the music. Turn it up loud this time.
All right, and we're back, ladies and gentlemen. I want to remind you about Optio, opteo.com/PSP. I'm going to do you a favor, and I'm going to save you time and money. And if you're a business owner, you need both of these. If you're a Google Ads manager, you're going to be able to do more business. If you're an agency, you're going to be able to hire more people and get more businesses because your team efficiency is going to grow. Optio is the tool that anyone needs, from small to big. It's a wonderful tool. I use it all the time. I like it. It's the only tool I talk about. My wife's kind of tired of hearing about it, but I tell her about it all the time. I talk about it. It's a great tool. I like it. You're going to like it. Optio.com/PSP.
It's a little sore. My hand's a little sore.
Oh, did you punch something or you squeeze? You're squeezing.
It is
Oh,
it is amazing to do a
ruined it.
podcast with you week to week.
I
It is
ruined it.
so
Oh,
it's
I
so
ruined it.
amazing to do a
I'm sorry.
podcast with you.
I
It's
forgot.
amazing.
It's
It's
been
amazing.
2 minutes
It's amazing.
and I forgot.
It's so amazing to do a podcast with you. It's great.
Thank you.
So
Thank you. I'm going to take that as a
so
compliment.
so Chris, let's talk about one that's near and dear to my heart in terms of influencing your lead quality. I think this might be the absolute most important way that you can influence lead quality, because at the end of the day, yes, you can do the search term thing, you can narrow in your search terms, but if you want to grow, if you want to expand your budget, you will be targeting on showing up on more general keywords that could bring in great leads for you, or could bring in leads that don't turn into customers for you. And the way you can kind of control for this is not only focusing on the search terms, but the person who's doing the search terms, the demographics. So just to go over the options you have in Google Ads, you have audiences, which in market, affinity, all the new stuff they've been adding. But like if you're advertising for payroll software, you could layer on you could layer on an audience that shows they are likely to be working at a huge corporation and an enterprise company. And there's tons of other things you can do with the audiences. First, of course, you can observe it and then see how that traffic performs. And if you want to go farther than that, you can. But I love that you can layer on audience. And then demographics, Chris. You can do bid adjustments or completely turn off different demographics, ages, gender, and household incomes. I'm working right now with a client in the travel industry. It's a very high income niche, and we're focusing on older people who have more money and high income people who are in a high income, because when they do these searches, the quality of the lead is much higher. I think this is a great way to influence the quality of your leads and get leads that are more likely to actually become paying customers. And I think you cannot speak enough about the power of demographics and Google Ads search campaigns. What do you think, Chris?
I think that's baloney.
You're very old school. You're very focused on the search term. The search term will tell you the quality of the person. The search term will define their demographics. That's kind of the place you're coming from. Am I right?
Yes, but let me define what I think is the baloney part. The baloney is I don't think that it's that important. I think that it is somewhat important, but in no way do I.
I'll send you money online right now, $500.
Okay.
Don't search it because that'll ruin it, and that's not fair. But if you can spell baloney,
Oh,
I'll send you $500. Free roll. It's a free roll. You want to do it?
Okay. Yeah. I got stuff I need to buy. Okay, here we go. Ooh,
Baloney.
B-O? Am I already wrong?
I'll tell you when you're wrong, just
Okay,
like a spelling bee.
B-O-L-O-N-G-E-A?
Ooh, close. Bologna.
Oh, wow! I was that.
Yeah, you were close.
Wow.
You were almost
you were
one letter
sweating.
off, and then I was a little bit. Yeah. I was sweating when you got to Bolog. I was like, dang, you might actually know this.
I just had to, and I didn't even spell it on my hand. I just had to like visualize it. But okay, thanks for diverting from my point. My point was the only thing I agree that it's important. I just don't think that I never go to it quickly. It's never something that I consider as a primary.
I mean, I understand your pushback because people can kind of get married to it and think it's a be all end all but honestly, what happens is they think that if they control the demographics, then they can
ignore the search terms.
Their lack of skill with the settings, not only the search terms, but the settings and the search terms and the keywords and match types and negative keywords and all that.
Yep.
They stop thinking about that stuff and they think it's all about demographics because that's traditional advertising. Get me in front of this person. Yeah. Jason, we have to push back at as search action advertisers.
We're not in the meta here, right? We're not walking around running into the wall with stupid glasses on our face.
Or worse, you see some of the stories.
Don't go
to the metaverse. Don't go to the metaverse. People apparently are not too nice there.
Yeah.
You think the real world's bad?
Can you believe it? People are meaner on the internet than they are in real life. I can't possibly believe that. That's amazing. But the fact is, don't take your Facebook and Instagram, tactics and bring them here. It doesn't belong because that's not what this is.
All right, I hear that pushback. I get it, but at the end of the day, Chris, you're someone like me, or no one's like me because I'm the absolute best Google Ads manager on the planet. But you're someone similar or aspiring to be like me, and you have the settings right, you have the search terms right, you have the match types right, the negative keywords and bids and all that kind of stuff right. Oh my God, you can layer on audiences on top of that and demographics. You can take things to the next level. But I'll give you this. So I had that discussion with the high income travel industry client, and they were like, don't older people doesn't high income make sense? Shouldn't we just do that? And I was like, yes, but you got to think through things. Why would someone be searching for this specific super high income travel related service that only rich people are searching for? If they're low income or a younger age, well, it could be a high income person's assistant. And you don't want to give up on that traffic. Yeah, that's one example, but that's a very good example of why it could be. Now, I will say this. We had another set of keywords that were not as specific, and it could be high income people. It could not be. And I was like, on that one, high income makes a ton of sense. But on the other one, let's at least leave the door open to low income, because I could foresee scenarios where it could be low income people searching on behalf of older and higher income people. And so you don't want to turn off that traffic. And then one thing that kind of speaks to your point, Chris, is guess what I don't turn off at the beginning ever?
Oh,
Unknown.
yeah. Oh,
Because
yeah.
I'm still focused on search terms. I'm still
Yeah.
focused on keywords, and unknown is usually somewhere around 40-50% of the traffic. And I don't want to
Yep.
give up on that just because the demographic's not known. But that said, it is a powerful way where you can influence the lead quality you're getting, Chris, especially in my view, especially on the high volume, more generic 2-word and 3-word search terms like movers near me, moving companies, Dallas. Those could be anybody. And if you can kind of make sure they're top income people, if that's what you're wanting to get in front of, well, then all of a sudden you might be getting better moving leads that convert for
Yep.
you at your prices as a moving company. So that's
Yep.
the way I think about it. But I can tell you're very, I mean, did you get in a fight one time? Did you lose a huge client because one of their marketing managers said, we should go into audiences and it messed up the campaigns? What's
Yeah.
the beef, Chris?
Yeah, because I just get I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I feel anger rise up whenever people reach out and they fill out my setup form on my site, and it says in there, we're looking for 40 to 60-year-old females with this income. I'm like, don't care.
Well, like we were saying earlier, your website is a way to filter for leads, and you could talk about, hey, search advertising is different.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's
Yeah.
kind of one example of like a real life example of lead quality,
Just
and
ignore
what
that.
websites can do.
I just ignore it. I don't, it's like, okay, I'll build a campaign with keywords that point to those
Did you ever
people.
work at an old school marketing agency or
No,
something? Okay.
no.
I just don't. I'm not clear. The audience is not. We're not clear where this anger is coming from.
I don't know.
I get it. You get a bad lead. Everyone gets bad leads. What's the big deal? Where's the anger coming?
I don't know. I mean, anger is a big part of what helps me to do. Jason dying on mute. It helps me to get through many things. Where I mean, when I'm going to hit a PR at CrossFit, I need to get angry. When I'm going to just dominate on Google Ads and just wipe out the competition, I'm going to get angry. It's just me.
At some point, you're going to get to an age where you'll never hit a PR again, just based on physicality and age.
That's true.
Are you there yet, or have you gotten some PRs?
No, Jason, I'm not
I'm just
there
asking.
yet. No,
when's the last time you said a PR?
Like 2 weeks ago. Clean. Like 260 or something. Can you do that?
Really?
No, you can't.
Huh?
Yeah.
I love CrossFit for you. I've seen you without CrossFit, and I've seen you with CrossFit.
Yes, you have.
And
that is very, yeah, you have. I go down quick. Okay, let's talk about things we can't control.
Yeah, so Chris, we talked about the stuff we can control in Google Ads. Now we're going to talk about stuff we cannot control. So let's talk about the global high volume keywords that I'm going to make a bold statement here that have to be a part of every campaign on Google Ads. Maybe once you grow your budget and you're trying to grow, what do you kind of break down what these global keywords are?
Yeah. So a global keyword, as Jason, I think that's a great name for it because it's going to be a term that is typically indistinguishable between the quality of lead that you're going to get. To go with some of our examples we had before, it might be something like payroll software, or even more scary beyond that, it might be something like how to do payroll or payroll solutions, payroll companies.
Hey, Chris, payroll phrase match.
Yeah.
If you're really trying to grow, or
right.
Exact match.
I mean, these you can get quantity of traffic, and a lot of times this absolutely has a place in Google Ads. For me, it has a place, but just like Jason said very wisely at the beginning of the show, an underfunded campaign may never get there until it proves profitability. Then it can grow and become the Amazon of its generation, right? So you can build a campaign like this where you start with profitability, then you might have a second campaign, what I call a fishing or exploratory campaign that tries some of these things at a manageable amount. CPCs that are low, budgets that's low. You can try some of these things. It never works if you take and throw these in the same bucket and the giant global keywords eat up all of the traffic. You cannot control that. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, when I think of global keywords like movers near me, real estate attorneys, like say you're a real estate attorney, there's certain parts of real estate that you do, certain parts you don't. You probably still have to advertise on real estate attorney if you have a big enough budget, because a lot of those people will be needing what you offer, even though some of them won't. And when it's a lot of people will, but some or a lot of people won't be a good fit kind of thing that happens with these high volume global keywords. The word bids comes to mind for me, Chris. This is where bidding comes into place, because like these keywords are going to have probably a lower conversion rate, but even if it's not a lower conversion rate, guaranteed they're probably going to have a lower real conversion rate in terms of becoming paying customers, because
Sales.
they're going to bring
yeah
they're going to have a lower rate after the conversion rate in terms of they actually become paying customers, because they're so open. So because of that, they're less valuable, but they're still valuable because they're high volume and some good stuff does come from them. In a lot of cases, a lot of good stuff comes from them. And depending on how much good stuff comes from them, you can just use your bids to manage how aggressively you want to bid on them and what you want to pay for them. It's pretty simple, in my view.
Jason, would you agree with this statement? Once a company starts to dabble and play in high spend, broad keywords and automated bids, it becomes almost addictive and difficult for them to quit that tendency.
Broad keywords and high bids.
And,
Do you mean and global keywords like this?
Well, not high bids, automated bids.
Automated
bidding.
sorry.
Automated bidding, conversion focused CPC, automated bidding, conversion focused bidding, I should say.
Yeah.
And broad keywords and high budgets.
Well, yeah, it's hard to quit or change, because number one, you see data and you're just judging things, and the bids are just judging. The system is just automating things based on top level surface data. And then the other thing that makes it tough is there's no nuance. You can't say, well, I mean, I guess at the ad group level, you can change your target CPA and have different levels of.
Let's say max conversions.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Something
Yeah,
like
I mean,
that.
well, yeah, that's the thing you struggle with if you go down that road, because to me, if I want to specialize in office moves and long distance moves, those are worth a ton more to me. And I don't really care about the cost per lead. I don't care about the cost per conversion or max conversions. I'm thinking about revenue leads that actually bring in revenue and how much revenue they bring in. And I do still want to show on movers and Dallas movers near me, but I know those are going to turn into my kind of jobs at a lower rate, and I want to bid lower for them, even if they have a higher conversion rate. So you lose that ability to do nuanced things like that for sure.
And imagine that same client is, seeing in their Google Ads account 10, 15% conversion rates, and it's hard to stop something like that. Essentially, the only time I ever see clients stop that is when they start to hit full stop on, like, in their business. Rarely do they say, things are going okay, let's stop the Google Ads and try a much more nuanced approach. No, they're not going to do that until their accountant tells them you cannot afford to pay for, $50,000, $80,000 a month in Google Ads. You have to do something. That's when they stop.
Or $10,000 a month, or $5,000 a month.
Sure.
$3,000.
Well, whatever it is, that's a lot for you. But yeah, I see it a lot.
But also, Chris, to be fair to those strategies, if someone doesn't know what they're doing with Google Ads and they have the word movers near me and they have the word moving phrase match and they're getting a bunch of moving on lyrics search terms and they don't know how to account for this, having that conversion strategy probably is better, because then the system can help at least get them within the bounds of success,
Sure.
as opposed to times, like even better success.
But you know that they'd be better off calling one of us than they would just throwing it into the wind like that. But
yeah, well, Chris, let's talk about the final thing you can't control here that we're going to discuss are broad match keywords and loose search terms. So let's talk about broad match keywords first. You and I are warming up as the years go on. Every month that goes by, I'm warmer and warmer to always trying a broad keyword campaign. They're getting better and better, and they can bring in high volume. They can bring in a lower cost per click, and things just seem to be getting better. Google's doing a better job of knowing who the user is, what they're interested in, and then showing you on the right kind of searches. If you're going to loosen things up and run broad match, there's obviously a lot you can't control, but that doesn't mean that broad match sometimes cannot, sometimes it doesn't mean that it doesn't sometimes bring in not only conversions, but conversions that actually become paying customers at a high rate. So just kind of talk about the mindset of giving up control when you run broad match, or maybe you disagree. Maybe there are some things you can't control. What do you kind of look for when you run pure broad?
Yeah, so if you're running pure, I'm going to ignore the bidding factor and what kind of bidding you're using and stuff like that. But let's just say pure broad, no matter what the bidding structure is, you immediately have to give up control on quality, at least from day one. Okay. Now, day 50, day 60, not so much. I'll talk about that. But day one, day two, three, four, the first half of the month, you're going to give up a lot of quality. But the part you can control, and this is what I love about broad keywords, and use them sparingly and carefully, but I do love broad keywords. They can be shaped and molded with negative keywords. I can take a broad keyword and use negative keywords to push something left or right to kind of try and fit it through a pinhole that would not be possible with a whole bunch of phrase and exact match. I may never be able to find that pinhole if I don't use a broad match, because the broad match can go everywhere, and as soon as it lands in that one spot, oh, that's good, and then I found it. But I may never be able to find it with. So you lose control, but there's so much more possibility there. But you have to understand that the broad keyword is not the place to stay. And we just talked about a minute ago, you can easily become addicted to that high spend, high volume. And the reports will tell you all down arrows. Change those to phrase match and everything's going to go down. You're going to get higher CPC, which is a red arrow pointing up. You're going to get lower impressions, which is a red arrow pointing down. Less clicks, red arrow pointing down. I mean, these things are going to look intimidating. They're going to look bad because you're gaining control and losing volume. But, this is all part of it. I do like broad match, but you have to understand what you don't control and what you do control.
Yeah. And there's also another aspect to what you can't control these days, and that is weird search terms that come in from good keywords. So it's the decision that you make when you get those weird search terms. So let me give you an example, Chris. Let's say you do like the word, and we're kind of getting away from the more nuanced searches, but let's say you really like the word real estate attorney Dallas phrase match, and you get a lot of real estate attorney, real estate lawyer Dallas kind of searches that you get, and it works out. But let's say you start getting a little bit of volume to the search term lawyers in Dallas, like a very small amount of volume. Your keyword is real estate attorney Dallas phrase match. You are a real estate attorney, but they're choosing to show you on the search lawyers in Dallas every now and then. And you're actually getting leads from that.
Yeah.
You can control this in the sense that you can add the word lawyers in Dallas as a negative exact match and not let them show you on this anymore. However, it is 2022, and Google does seem to be getting better and better about the user and the person behind the search. And I think there's something to them going, oh, well, we actually think it's likely that this person doing a general lawyer search in Dallas actually is looking for help with real estate, because we saw they just did a bunch of searches about real estate, or we saw they've been on a lot of real estate websites. Therefore, we're going to allow that to show on your real estate attorney Dallas phrase match keyword, because we think it's a good person for you behind that more general lawyers in Dallas search. And check your conversion column. You might be getting good conversions from it, but you might not see that on the first click, the first time you see it in your search terms report. And if you add it as a negative, all of a sudden, like a exact match negative, you're not going to give it a chance to see if you can get conversions from it. So have you run into that where you see some bad looking search terms come in from keywords, and then obviously we've all seen that, but like, have you had the thought like, oh, maybe I shouldn't block this yet because maybe there's a reason they're showing me on it? What do you think about that line of thinking?
It is the scariest kind of control that you lose, because lack of control without lack of proof of quality is probably the scariest thing.
Yeah.
Because if I see something converting on a keyword that makes no sense about what I should be advertising for, I'm always in lockup mode. Like, do I block it? Do I target it? Do I do nothing? What do
Mhm.
I do? Do I leave it? Do I block this? And then I'm left, wondering. And then let's say I leave it, and then the client starts to, look around the search terms, and they're like, why am I getting so many searches for lawyers in Dallas? And this isn't
Yeah.
valuable to me, So then I'm like, well, it's converting, and I don't know if it's good or not, So yeah, it's the scariest lack of control, because it's lack of control plus positive response.
And the hard thing about it is when we look at search terms report and we see search terms that bring in conversions, then we think, oh, add those as keywords.
Yeah.
But my theory here, I don't know if it's correct or not, but my theory is that you're going to get different traffic with the search lawyers in Dallas if you add that as a keyword versus if they choose to show it as a search term every now and then on real estate attorney Dallas phrase match. That's a
Because
theory.
Because what we've learned and discussed a lot on this show is with the responsive search ads,
Yeah.
what the other half you can't see is what headline did they show? Did the person search lawyers in Dallas, and the headline in the responsive search ad was real estate attorney in Dallas, and that's what they clicked on? That's a good qualifier. You don't know exactly what ad they saw, but that can be a real factor. So yeah, absolutely
And I'm
lack
going
of
to
control.
the phrase match definition from Google Ads Help. The meaning of a keyword match type phrase match that allows you to show your ads on searches that include the meaning of your keyword. The meaning of the keyword can be implied, and user searches can be a more specific form of the meaning. This allows you to reach more searches than with exact match and fewer than with broad match. With phrase match, a user's word order matters only when it changes the intended meaning. When you use phrase match, here's what I'm getting at. Your ads get to the right users without the creation of an extensive list of keywords and phrases. So again, it's just theory, but I have seen it where more open kind of keywords come in from search terms come in from phrase match, and then they start producing conversions, and I'm hesitant to block them because I have a theory that they might be coming in for a reason. So
Yeah.
that's something you can't really control. You can't tell it, hey, only show me on this openness level on phrase match versus this openness level on phrase match. You just get three choices: phrase, exact, and broad.
Yeah.
And the meaning of those kind of change over time.
Yeah, maybe we're
We
headed
think.
towards a world in 2023, 2024, where Google changes keyword to add new topics to this campaign. They don't even call them keywords anymore, because a keyword is a misnomer. It's no longer a word-to-word idea. It's now a
Yeah.
topic to idea. Add new ideas to this campaign.
Well, that's pretty much display keywords.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it is. Speaking of no control, we have no control. We can't control Google. We can only work with the
We
software
can
we're given.
barely control this show and our
Yeah.
flow and how long it
You
takes.
can barely control your co-host. So while I have the floor, I'm going to tell you guys, you can control me. You want to make me meet you at a certain time, certain place over the phone or on Zoom. You want to do a live Zoom call with me? I'm available, and you can book a call. I've done hundreds and hundreds of live Zoom calls with people where I go through their Google Ads campaign. I blow their mind. They immediately throw money at me again because they want it over and over again. It's amazing. I promise you'll have a good experience, as many hundreds of people have. ChrisSchaefer.com and schedule your appointment today.
Thanks, Chris. And I'm at rothmanppc.com for Google Ads management and consulting, and you can find me there. So thanks for being here, everyone. And check out paidsearchpodcast.com for all the things the show is doing, including the archive, the jobs page, YouTube, and PPC Daily. So with that said, thanks for being here, and we will see you next week.